When victims go to their faith community for support, their experience can be, and usually is, either really good or really bad.
A lot of times I have met faith leaders who just don't know what to do. And so in not knowing what to do, they do nothing.
Domestic violence is about power and control. It's a choice that an abuser makes each and every time they abuse their partner. It's not something they do to the general public, for example. But you know, most victims do leave. They have left, they are leaving, you know, they will leave again, usually, multiple times. But the reason it's so hard is because it's dangerous. They're afraid. They're really terrified because perpetrators say all kinds of things about what they're going to do when and if you leave. This is what happened to me. My husband said, if you leave me, I'll kill the baby. I'll kill your father. I will drip every drop of blood from his body. I will cut his eyes out. And he had never hit me. And that is exactly what he tried to do after I left him, after I filed for divorce. He broke in the house and came back and tried to kill my father in front of me. And we both were stabbed. And he tried to cut my father's eyes out. And when you hear about these kinds of things, you think this is so crazy that you would know that this guy is this way, but nobody did. My family and friends, my church, nobody could see that side of him because it was all behind closed doors. And so this is what happens most of the time when a victim of faith goes to her faith leader for support. It is treated like a relationship problem and assumed that if we can just work with this couple together, then we'll help them get over this issue, which is misidentified as a communication problem or a substance abuse problem or the like. So what victims need from their faith communities is they need to be believed and supported, and they need to not have to make a choice between their church or their marriage or safety. And so when victims go to their faith leaders, they don't need somebody to be an expert, but they do need somebody to believe them and support them, to pray with them, to provide them with spiritual guidance, but at the same time work in concert with the secular domestic violence experts who can work on safety planning and helping her move forward.
So the way that I help students in particular is twofold. In one way, I'm an advocate, and so it's about being able to connect them to resources, to be able to heighten the awareness of the issues, but also using my theological platform and the platform that I have in terms of being able to preach and teach on the issue from a theological perspective, which I also believe helps to ground people in terms of a faith way and how they live out their faith around why this is not okay. But it's also about, for me, one-on-one. So I do a lot of pastoral care with women who have been in violent situations, and specifically sexually violent situations. And a part of that process is helping them spiritually to connect theological premises and thoughts around how they live out their spiritual life and how they heal in regards to that, but then also connecting them to the resources so that they will have access to ways to become independent. So they'll have access to ways to heal in every single way. So they'll have access to support groups. So they'll have access to be able to live a full life.
Everybody's got a role to play in the fight to end domestic violence. First of all, educating yourself, understanding, again, you know, dispelling those myths, what it is and what it isn't, why it happens, the fact that it's not gender neutral, educating other people, talking about it. When you hear people making jokes about it, intervene. When you hear people talking about violence against women in a way that clearly they don't understand it, help them understand it.
And so I would always say you have to do something. So even if you start by just making people aware, then make people aware. If you start by creating a space where women can feel safe, then create a space where women can be safe. If you don't know what to do, bring someone in who does know what to do. So in the faith community that I am particularly a part of, I think there have been changes over time in terms of how we view violence against women. With the rise of feminist movements and womanist movements, there's a heightened awareness around the violence against women. And then the broader culture is also calling to account, I believe, faith communities or my faith community around naming these things. However, I feel like my faith community has a lot further to go in terms of being progressive, in terms of heightening the awareness, but also providing a space for women in the faith community to be able to name it and to also hold those accountable who are violent against women.
I haven't lost hope, and that's, I think, a great part of where my faith comes from too. I believe that we can make a difference, you know, that each one of us influences our sphere. It's like throwing a pebble in a pond and the ripples go out. Every time you talk to somebody about gender-based violence, every time you talk to somebody, every time I talk to someone, people change and people learn. And so, you know, that's where the hope is. We've come a long way, we've got a long way to go, but I have hope.
I'm Denisha, I'm a Christian, and I say no to domestic violence.
My name is Zainab Bali. I'm a Muslim, and I say no to domestic violence.
My name is Haley Parrish. I'm a Christian, and I say no to domestic violence.